Namaste and greetings. I, Sanya, researcher at IMPRI, Impact and Policy Research Institute, Prabhav Evam Niti Anusandhan Sansthan, Nai Delhi, extend my warmest welcome to you all to IMPRI Web Policy Learning. Today, we are gathered here for day 10 of EPAYF, Environment Policy and Action Youth Fellowship, Cohort 2.0. This 3-month online immersive introductory leadership certificate training fellowship program is organized by IMPRI, Center for Environment, Climate Change and Sustainable Development, CECCSD, and the chair for the program is Ms. Bhargavi S Rao ji, independent researcher and educator, environment activist, Bangalore, visiting senior fellow honorary IMPRI. The conveners for the course are Dr. Mansi Bal Bhargava, Ms. Sushasini Iyer, Professor Utpal Kumar De, Dr. Simi Mehta, and Dr. Arjun Kumar. Course outline and reading resources will be shared in your email for your kind perusal. And today's session is dedicated towards creative project presentation. Fellows are requested to translate the core themes of their research into a creative presentation. And before we start today's session, I'd like to state the housekeeping announcements. Please join the meeting on time. Refrain from making general comments in the question to save time. The duration for your presentation should be 3 to 4 minutes. If you are using PowerPoint presentation, then please limit your slides to 4 to 5. If you are finding it difficult to share screen, kindly share PPT over our mail learning@impri@gmail.com and kindly accept join as panelist request to enable screen sharing and access the audio and video. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite our chair, Ms. Bhargavi S Rao ji, for the opening remarks. We welcome you, ma'am, and over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanya. Good evening, everybody. And thanks to IMPRI, Dr. Arjun Kumar and his entire team for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be with you all over the last 9 to 10 weeks. It's been a fantastic journey, listening to a variety of lectures, learning from a cross section of disciplines within the broad environmental field. And it was also very interesting to read all your abstracts, and I did give some feedback based on just 4 points that I thought would be good. One was to see how clear the purpose of your assignment was, then the relevance in today's context, then the research methods that each of you had planned, and also some critical insight moving forward. It was definitely a fantastic opportunity to read a variety of assignments which had brought in such richness from your own fields and your own many years of not just learning experience. Some of you also brought in your work experience into it, which was very interesting. So now I eagerly look forward to you listening to each of your presentations as the program is coming to a close. So without wasting much time, again, over to all the presentations. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So to commence today's sessions, I'd like to invite Aradhya Adilaka ji for their presentation. Over to you, Aradhya.
Just give us a second. They do not have the mic access as of yet. We're sending the request to everybody.
Okay, okay.
Aradhya ji, please accept the panelist request.
Okay, Aradhya is saying that Aryan would be going first. She wants to go second, I think. Aryan, are you ready with your presentation? You may start, please.
Okay, wait. Yeah, please accept the panelist request. Aryan, are you ready?
Sent a message, I think. Kumar, Aryan, we can't hear you. Yes, sir.
I still can't hear. Is it my system or others are also facing the same problem?
We can't hear as well. I think some audio issues there.
Aryan, click on join audio maybe. Must be above your mic.
Or maybe log out and log in again. Drop out from this meeting and join you from your link again. In the meanwhile, would anybody else like to go ahead?
Anish, I see that you have given your name to present at the third place. Are you ready? Animesh Sinha.
Yes, I can go.
Yeah, you may start, please, Animesh.
Sure, I'll share this. My screen visible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be presenting on financing financing India's urban transition, the role of climate finance and a national taxonomy. So the current challenge of India's cities are that World Bank report says Indian cities are going to be more populated over the next 10 years. 40% of the population is going to be living in cities. So with the rising urbanization and the population, it will exert quite a bit of pressure on the existing infrastructure. So there is a need to build on the infrastructure of the city. Our estimation of the same World Bank report says 840 billion is required by 2036 to meet the urban infrastructure demand. Currently, as we see, the infrastructures of, of the urban areas are heavily reliant on funding from the state governments and the central governments because own source revenue are very few, and because of that aspect ULBs are not very uh, exposed to market, uh, raising funds from the market using other financial instruments. So what opportunity does climate finance gives to financing urban infrastructure? So climate finance can unlock additional fundings from domestic and international sources, namely international sources as in multilateral banks and retail investors, bonds, etc., can become a good avenue for ULGs to raise money. This will
Animesh,
also
are
help.
you, sorry, are you changing slides?
Not yet. I am still in the
Not yet.
first slide.
All
I am
right.
talking about the opportunities part.
Okay.
So this climate finance also help us bridge the
Animesh,
gap.
sorry. Animesh, you could probably put it on slideshow mode.
It is on the slideshow mode.
Oh,
I
we've
have put it on the slide.
I
Is
see
it
it as
not
a
showing?
presentation. I see the panel on the left side also.
Okay, I'll just reshare that.
Oh, now it moved to the first slide, a second slide actually.
Okay, okay.
It's okay. No worries. You can continue. Sorry.
Oh, is it
Yeah, yeah.
the
Now
second
it's
slide
good.
now?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So climate finance, as I spoke about before, the financing is happening heavily reliant on the government transfers. Now, climate finance can bridge the gap between what's required and what can come from other sources apart from government sources. It also enables infrastructure aligning with our environmental goals and also support low carbon urban development. So, what is climate finance and how to leverage climate finance. So ULGs has to align their projects with climate goals, has to build bankable and green infrastructure projects, tap into international funds, private and retail investment tools like green municipal bonds. So how do we actually define what's green and what and that it aligns with our climate goal? How do we do that? So there needs to be a policy document that's called a climate finance taxonomy that defines what's supposed to be green, what activity is supposed to be green, and how it affects the goals of a country. So, what is the climate finance taxonomy? And it also lists a number of sectors and economic activities that uh, qualifies as green. Why is it necessary? It is necessary because it provides a transparent and accountable investment opportunity for different investors, uh, like foreign investors, multilateral banks, and others. It also avoids greenwashing. So now I come to global case studies. First of European Union. So they have four necessary conditions for activities to be aligned with taxonomy. Contribute. First one is contribute substantially to one or more six environmental objectives. Do not do significant harm to any of the six environmental objectives. Be carried out in compliance with minimum safeguards of EU, compliance with TCS technical screening criteria established by the EU. Here are the sectors that are mentioned. The ones in the green are sorry, it's written wrong. The ones in the green are mitigation, and ones in the yellow are adaptation. Forestry, environmental protection and restoration, manufacturing, energy, water supply, transport, construction, information and communication, professional scientific activities. This all comes under mitigation, and the below four comes under adaptation. Education, financial insurance, financial and insurance activities, human health and social work activities, art, environment, and recreation. Now coming to the global case study of China. So as in this one, European Union, they follow a TCS approach, that is a technical screening methodology approach with do not do significant harm principle. In the China one, they follow a whitelist approach where they have this three objectives of environmental improvement, climate change and response, more efficient resource use. They have also identified six types of industries that they want to cover under the taxonomy. Industries are energy saving and environmental protection industry, clean production industry, clean energy industry, ecological and environment related sectors, sustainable upgrade of infrastructure, green services. So these are broadly what are coming under the China's taxonomy. Now, when I initially perceived this topic, till then India did not have a taxonomy. They were building it, but on May 7th, they have already released a draft taxonomy. So right now, my work is around understanding how this aligns with the other taxonomies and all. So while I was examining the draft taxonomy that was published earlier in May, so these are the principles. Sorry for this one again. Sorry. So on the left are the principles: consistency with stated position on climate action and
Nimesh,
develop. Sorry.
Nimesh, please try to wrap in a minute now.
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Do not do significant harm to other objectives, focusing on pathways and trajectories in the country's context, interoperability, support transitional activity, promoting use of indigenous technology, be science-based and transparent, and proportionality to MSMEs. So here are the sectors on the right that are covered under the draft framework. Power, mobility, and building coming under mitigation, adaptation, and co-benefits. Agriculture, food, and water security coming under adaptation and resilience. Hard to abate sectors comes under transitioning, addressing transition, more like uh, thermal power plants and all. So the policy recommendations are work in progress. I'm working on it. I'm looking at other countries' taxonomies also, like South Africa and others, who have adopted the EU one, and then they have uh, uh, done some contextual changes to that suits to their country's goals. So I'm looking at it, and This recommendation will be developed in the coming week. So these are my references. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
Sanya, would you like me to give feedback
yes.
right now? Okay. Thank you, Animesh. That was a good presentation. Very comprehensive, and you've put it across very nicely with the 4 or 5 slides. The story is coming out very nicely. I would probably just give one feedback, that is to look at the taxonomy itself from the Indian context, and also see if there are any gaps in it.
Right. Understood.
Yeah, because the Indian scenario is very different when it comes to the closing of thermal power plants, or even the unfolding of solar power parks. It's very different. So see if the taxonomy matches what is happening in ground, and if you can add a couple of critical aspects to it, I think that might be useful for both the industry and the policymakers.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank
I'll
you.
try and incorporate that.
Okay, okay.
Arulji, you are next. Are you ready?
Yeah, I hope I'm audible this time.
Yeah, now you are audible.
Yes, you are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Arvind. Let me present my presentation first. Just a second. Can you see this?
Yes.
Can you see the slide?
Yes,
Yes, we can see
see.
this.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Aryan, and I'm pursuing my master's in sociology at Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. And the topic I have chosen is reclaiming Gazipur. As even though Gazipur is not something I visit every day, but I remember visiting Gazipur for one of my exams, and I saw this huge mountain-like garbage structure, and I was just in awe of what exactly was it. Then I just searched for it, and I realized that it was a dump site. So that made me rethink that what are we actually doing with the waste management problem, which is lingering around us. So um, so Delhi, as we know, is India's vibrant capital, but it grapples with a waste management problem. And even today, the city produces an immense volume of municipal solid waste every day. As you can see, some of the accounts here, it generates approximately 11,000 tons of waste per day, and 40 to 60% of biodegradable waste composition contributes highly in the landfill, which creates methane, as well as hazardous waste, which has quadrupled between 2018 and 19 and 2021 to 22. And the construction waste amounts to approximately 6,000 tons daily, which is a lot. Before we delve into the specifics of Delhi, I would like to bring some light on the case studies of other places, other countries from which we can adopt some of the insights. Edmonton, Canada is one of the places I have chosen. As you can see, Edmonton has been successfully able to divert 60% of its waste from landfills through comprehensive recycling and composting programs. And the city also reuses 98% of the sand used on icy roads, demonstrating a commitment towards resource recovery and environmental stewardship. Secondly, Edinburgh. Edinburgh has also adopted a zero waste strategy, and it has aimed to divert all but 5% of its waste from landfills through recycling and composting. The city has also invested in new facilities, including an aerobic digestion plant and a combined heat and power plant to process waste and generate energy. From these case studies, we can gather the multifaceted approach where they have used infrastructure, technology, as well as public awareness and how it can actually bring a change. Talking about the current situation in Delhi, Delhi relies heavily on landfills for waste disposal, and there are three major landfill sites: Bhalsava, Okhla, and Ghazipur. The Ghazipur landfill was meant to hold up to 20 meter of waste, but it is now 65-meter tall area, as tall as Qutub Minar. And the situation of Bhalsava and Okhla are not very different. Bhalsava has reached a landfill of 62 meters, and Okhla stands at 38 meters, which is way above what it was commissioned for. The environmental impact is, I think it's pretty obvious. The air pollution thing, how the decomposition of organic waste, it converts into methane, and then methane, it mixes into the oxygen level, and how it affects our health, especially the respiratory problems, skin diseases, and other illness. Um, Studies have shown various times that the people living in the area face many health issues. Water contamination is another issue because of the leachate, which leaches out of the landfill area. Again, another process of decomposition. But yeah, these are things.
Just try to have in a minute.
Okay, sure. I'll just quickly jump to the strategy area. So this is the current waste management practice. But as we know, it's not very effective. It has its limitations with more and more waste every day and underutilization of processing capacity and frequent fires, etc. These are some of the strategies which we can incorporate. There are short-term strategies such as enhancing waste segregation. If we segregate the 30 to 40% of waste at the source, then we can significantly reduce the landfill capacity. Then there could be community involvement, optimizing biomining efficiency, and more decentralized treatment units so that it does not reach the landfill. And medium to long strategies could be an expansion of infrastructure, more WTE plants, more biomining plants, etc., and more policy regulation, as we can see here. I have to quickly jump. I have scaled the implementation strategy in three phases: the pilot phase, scale-up phase, and long-term impact. In the pilot phase, we can target a ward, and there we can maybe implant a decentralized composting plant with trommel machines. And then in the scale-up phase, we can increase those ward areas and more machineries. And with the long-term impact, we are aiming that the expected outcome would be reduction in fresh waste reaching Ghazipur by 30 to 40% within the first 3 years, processing of at least 5 million tons of legacy waste through biomining within 5 years, and of course, improved air quality, public health, and environment degradation. So that is all from my side. Thank you all. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you, Aryan. I hope you watched the film that was screened a little bit the other day. Although I don't know if we managed to screen it fully because there was some issue with the frame by frame moving, but I hope you watched it later, because that film would have directly spoken about the issues that Ghazipur is facing. You could also consider connecting with SDG 3 and SDG 12, because SDG 3 is public health and SDG 12 is proper sustainable consumption. So unless we stop consumption, irrational and unnecessary consumption, SDG 3 is directly going to have health impacts, and everything that's happening in Ghazipur is definitely a health related issue. It's a big public health issue. So you could also pitch that as a big public health issue in the beginning itself. And you do promote waste to energy plants. That is a little problematic. You may want to read up a little bit more, because waste to energy plants produces a lot of dioxins and furans, and it is cancerous. So even with the latest technology in hand, where they may have electrostatic precipitators and things like that, you will end up with a lot of bottom ash, and the bottom ash will have a lot of dioxins and furans, which will have to be dumped somewhere. And wherever there are waste to energy plants, they are dumping this toxic waste near riverbeds, lake beds, further contaminating, and that is causing more problems. So be very careful when you are saying waste to energy plants, because I personally think that is not the answer, and it is not a scientific answer to waste problem. Reduction, yes. Reducing, yes, and recycling. So you may want to focus on that. And also in your presentations, I think it will be good if you put in the responsibility of the local governments. So who is going to do the pilot, and you have planned that out very nicely. The 3 phases that you mentioned, the medium scale, large scale, whatever. I think the role of the local government, role of civil society, role of maybe startups / industries, and also the role of the general public. So if you can also specify who can do what to address this, then it will be even more clearer, and people will be able to use your presentation, your paper, more practically. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Thank you, Animesh. Next one we have Aradhya ji, if you're ready, you can please start presenting.
Yes, just give me a second.
Yeah.
So my presentation is on the topic of labor in times of climate change, understanding the unequal impact of extreme heat and extreme weather conditions on gig economy workers in Delhi. So the basic conceptual framework of my presentation is that it's based on the idea of intersectional environmentalism. So this research project rests on the assumption that one's relationship with the environment, as well as their capacity to respond to environmental conditions, is contingent on their access to economic and social capital. Intersectionalism postulates that owing to the lack of economic and social capital, individuals who come from lower caste or class backgrounds face an additional disadvantage when it comes to responding to climate change, climatic conditions, owing to their limited capital, which restricts them from fully engaging in environmental protection measures. So what are the current existing issues within the labor rights framework for the gig economy workers? So I think firstly is in terms of demanding working conditions and long hours. So how the payment structures work within app-based platforms like probably Blinkit, Zomato, etc. is that these workers get paid per order and they don't get paid on a monthly or a weekly basis. So for them to be able to uh, uh, attain a certain level of minimum wage or a certain level of minimum income, they need to spend long amount of hours working or performing certain tasks for them to be able to earn a meager income. Gig workers have to operate in challenging environments, and they have to endure extreme weather conditions such as extreme heat, heavy rains, high pollution levels, irrespective of it being day or night, so that they can meet the demands of meet their demands or be able to access basic resources. On an average, a gig worker in India works 69.3 hours per week, which equates to almost 10 hours daily or 7 days a week, often without any day offs on Sundays. Secondly, they face significant financial hardships and low earnings. Despite better qualification than many other workers within the informal economy or daily wage laborers, 75% of gig workers face severe financial difficulties. They earn an average of only rupees 18,000 per month. This is also often after working extremely tirelessly Additionally, a substantial portion of their earnings is consumed by work-related costs, like taxi drivers spend an average of 40% of their income on petrol or diesel alone. They also have to bear the cost of purchasing their own vehicles, maintenance, etc. Thirdly, is a lack of like employee status and social security benefits. Companies intentionally refer to give workers as partners, captains, or experts rather than employees to avoid legal responsibilities. This classification allows companies to circumvent obligations such as providing health insurance, liability for work related accidents, paying taxes, or ensuring a minimum wage. 10 is like on algorithmic control and exploitations. Uh, Gig workers are subject to stringent algorithmic control and exploitative practices, and accounts can be permanently blocked for minor reasons, such as canceling a few jobs or not being able to maintain a certain minimum rating on their app. Failure to meet these criteria can lead to severe job losses. Last, then there's like inadequate like grievance redressal mechanisms, wherein gig workers face issues, their only recourse is often chatting with a bot on the platform with limited ability to speak a human representative or use a toll-free number. Companies frequently replace human managers with AI or algorithms for addressing complaints, making the system unhelpful for workers despite being like customer friendly. Safety and liable risks. They also face physical risks, including being assaulted, and severe accidents often occur, especially when these workers are functioning under extreme climatic conditions. Ineffective legal framework and resistance to regulation. Traditional labor laws in India do not cover gig workers, and companies exploit loopholes by not classifying them as employees. While the Indian government passed a social security code in 2020 that defined a gig worker and promised certain benefits, the law has only been drafted as of now and not operationalized. Additionally, overlapping definitions of gig worker, platform worker, and unorganized worker create confusion when it comes to applying of these schemes. And lastly,
Radhya, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Just wrap it up in a minute, please.
okay.
Yeah.
So the next part is like this slide generally covers the environmental conditions in Delhi. So during the summer, Delhi faces severe heat. During winter, visibility visibility is extremely low. Temperatures go as low as 7 degrees Celsius. And additionally, cold and dry winds from the Himalayas make the weather conditions even more colder. Similarly, during monsoons and like monsoons, the rainfall is like extremely high, and pollution and like air quality are also like certain factors that like fact or like severe air quality averaging at 450 to 500 are also certain conditions that influence like the climatic or environment of Delhi. So this largely has like a threefold impact on the gig economy workers. I think firstly, it like directly affects their income, because in cases wherein there is like extreme rainfall, these workers are unable to like continue with their deliveries or perform certain services, which means they're like directly stripped off their like access to income. And in cases wherein it's like wherein the heat is really high or the pollution levels are really high, even if they want to voluntarily opt out of like working under these extreme working conditions, they have to do it at the cost of their income or their daily minimal wage. So this leads to like the second impact, which is impact in their health, because if they don't want to lose out on their income income, they need to then force themselves to work in extreme environmental conditions, which means subject themselves to high levels of like air pollution, or like subject themselves to like working in extreme levels of heat, which severely impacts their health. Working in severe heat can lead to dehydration, it can lead to fainting, whereas working in extreme pollution environments leads to like severe issues within like the respiratory system. And thirdly, this also affects their ability to mobilize and garner support. Of late, there have been mass protests against platforms like Blinkit. However, most of the workers who were engaged in these protests were like removed from the platform, which means that even in cases wherein like these workers try to demand for better social security benefits or better rights, better rights, they're removed from the platform as a deterrent to stop them from protesting or demanding for better rights. So this also then severely restricts the ability of the gig economy workers to mobilize and then go ahead and garner support for themselves. So then what can be done? I think firstly, in terms of tightening of legal regulations, companies should be legally bound to provide health compensation to the gig economy workers, provide them with paid sick leaves, etc. Secondly, guaranteed minimal wage to be provided to these gig economy workers, so that even if there are days wherein the physical environment is not such wherein they can perform certain tasks, they don't lose out on their basic source of sustenance. And thirdly, establishment of like formal contractual relation between the workers and the employees, and the relationship between the gig economy labor and the platform hiring them should be that of like an employer and employee relationship, so that these employers are subject to like tighter legal regulations to make the work environment like safer. I think as app users, firstly, it's important to rate the delivery persons fairly. Often we give them like a lower rating because the order might be late, or like because the order might not come in a way that we want. But what we don't understand is that if the rating goes below 4.5, the worker can go ahead and actively lose their job. So I think firstly, like being more sensitive while rating the delivery persons. Secondly, providing them with additional tips or even basic amenities like water if they request for it. Because if a provider is coming and providing us with certain services under like extreme like weather conditions, I think it's important for us to go ahead and acknowledge the additional effort that they are undertaking while we are within our homes in a relatively like safer environment. And I think thirdly, to treat them with respect. Gig economy workers are often subject to like extreme violence on like small issues. So I think treating them with respect and acknowledging their efforts and services is also important to like combat this issue. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Aradhya. I think that again is a very comprehensive presentation. You've looked at all the labor law issues and the issues that they are currently facing. I don't know if you mentioned, but maybe if you have, I'm sorry, I may have missed out the fact that they cannot organize themselves. You did talk about, yeah, that it is not just because of lack of time, because they operate in the fear of losing their job, they are unable. So there are absolutely no, you can't have trade unions and things like that. So that is a major issue. And you could also bring towards the end where you make your recommendations, I think there should be a set of recommendations to the local governments. So the local governments should also be able to provide them spaces where they can rest and relax, right? For example, keeping the parks open, keeping spaces open, making sure there are restrooms available for them, free water available for them. And if they are women gig workers, making sure sanitary napkins are available at a subsidized cost. There is so much that can be done, right, from the state. So I think a bunch of recommendations for the state to step in is also important, and the state should also be able to act as a monitoring body looking at all these app-based companies. There should, that's when, if for example, if Delhi says that it's going to be a zero tolerant city for violence towards gig workers, then I think that's when people who are the app users will also wake up to the fact that they have to be nice. So I think putting a bunch of responsibilities on the state will also be helpful. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Aradhya. Parulji, if you're comfortable, can we have Kaushik sir as next, because he has other engagements lined up from 7.
Yeah, sure. That's not an issue. He can go first. I can go after him.
Okay, okay. Dr. Kaushik, you may please start presenting.
Yeah, just send them the request. They'll be joining.
Oh.
I hope it's visible now.
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Yeah, it is visible.
Yeah. So, good evening to all. So, sorry, though I wanted to be very much part of this cohort, but unfortunately, due to some official engagement, I was on and off during the whole this fellowship period. So, I thought I'm actually right now, these days, I am researching on an article on just transition of energy, mostly related to the phasing out of coal in the wake of this SDG 8, SDG 7, and SDG 13, mostly related to the climate change criteria. So, though I have not made a formal presentation, I will just showcase few of my points which I am researching right now. So, this project is mostly related to the repurposing of abandoned thermal plants. So, first I will talk about the major, like in India, still thermal power plants forms a major part of the base load of the total energy made in the country. So these days we are talking a lot about phasing out of coal with the integration of more and more renewables into the country. Though phasing out of coal has been envisaged, and by 2030 we are saying that India will be contributing around 50% of the energy will be met through the renewable energy. But for managing those renewables, thermal power plants plays a major role. And still, by 2030, around 28 gigawatt of thermal generation is going to be added. Though some of the thermal power plants which are getting old, which are over their useful life of 25 years, they will be faded out. And this particular research article focuses on the post closure of a thermal power plant. What are the scope and what are the areas by which that abandoned thermal plant can be reused and repurposed into a new aspect. So first I have taken an international benchmark and correlated with the Indian base case study. So first I will talk about like there is a Battersea thermal power station in London, and it is I found that it is one of the finest examples in this repurpose and redevelopment plant of the thermal power plants which are being closed. So just to give a brief overview of how it came up and how it surfaced over the years, like it was decommissioned in 1983 and almost for 30 years it remained abandoned, and it covered a sprawling area of around 42 acres. Subsequently, one of a Malaysian investor in 2012, they overtook it and they started the redevelopment plan, like refurbishment and repurposing of the plant into a retail kind of area. So that total refurbished activities and the completed building was opened in 2022. And this project was specifically aimed to preserve the existing fabric of the thermal power plant while installing a new structure within the old shell. So some of the key elements which are associated with the redevelopment plan, that includes first, primarily the preservation, like in terms of reusing the primary structural elements, and of course it helped in saving and a lot of around 36,000 tons of embedded carbon, because the older structure was used and no new structure were being added to it. It was total realignment of the existing structure. Then restoration. It included a lot of activities, like included repairing brickwork, chimneys, and the steel frames. In fact, the chimneys of the thermal power plant of that particular Battersea thermal power plant, it is being reconverted into a glass elevator for a superior 360-degree view of the London from the top. So it's a major attraction of this total new project. Then a new structure. They implemented a box-in-box approach, like within the same framework, a new framework was being developed, and it integrated new elements like residential, retail, and office spaces within the overall area. Then external brickwork elevations were being done while preserving the original aesthetic. The foundations, they were reused and reinforced This structure, it was mostly like a tree-shaped steel structure, which supported a large office floor plates and served as a architectural focal points. Some of the basement work also were being realigned. And of course, this resulted in a huge job creation. Like around a lot of people faced layoff because of the closure of the thermal power plant. Though the gap was very much, but still around 6,600 jobs were created post completion. And many, a lot of workers who lost their jobs while the plant was being closed down, they got re-employed. So in terms of re-employment and social aspect of the project, it covered a lot. And of course, it helped in the community development of the adjoining areas. So a vibrant town center was being created because it's in the heart of the London. So all these activities, they ushered in a new lease of life for the Battersea Thermal Power Station. And if you draw a parallel to an Indian case study, like I found closest is the NTPC, Badapur Thermal Power Station. It's been closed now through a Supreme Court ruling due to it is major pollution. It is contributing to major pollution of the Delhi state, Delhi NCR regions. However, few of the things which I thought which could help in the repurposing and the redevelopment of this DTPS plants, though some of the ideas have already been floated and some of the work is still going on, but I reiterated with some few points from my side. Like this first, the mega eco park, it is already been planned, but this work is undergoing and it is still in early phases. Like, and it envisaged.
Kaushik ji, I'm really sorry to interrupt, but I would request you to please wrap up in a minute.
I will just wrap up in 2 minutes. Okay. So a mega eco park has been envisaged there. So new avenues, employment avenues for the semi-skilled workers who are being laid off because of thermal power plant closure. Then infrastructure reuse. The existing infrastructure in the plant, like the schools and hospitals, they can be augmented and they can be handed over to the private institutions. Third one is the retailer housing spaces. There's a huge potential in terms of restoration and reuse of the original building structure. Like it can be these new real estate developers. They can sell it like regeneration of the iconic plant, experience a blissful life there. And being near proximity to the Delhi NCR and Delhi Metro, and of course with its green corporate area, it can be USP for the real estate developers. And fourth and last is the educational or office setups. They can be welcomed or invited to set up their campus or offices in the eco park, and that can also add a source of re-employment for the layoff persons at the thermal power plants. By they can get some administrative jobs here in terms of security services here. So these are few of the key elements of my research area. This is a subset of the total research area which I have covered in this short presentation. So I'd like to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaushik. Good presentation, and yeah, you do bring in the examples of Battersea. But when it comes to India, you know, it is still a very big challenging issue. I sit in Karnataka, where here again we have one of those decommissioned plants of Raichur. You know, with most of these units, in the past, most of our cities have had cotton mills and other variety of flour mills, which eventually got bought over by the real estate agencies. So this again you don't even have to recommend. The state will lay the red carpet and give it away to real estate agents. The highest bidder will definitely get all of it. But the challenge remains with the toxic dump there. So from an environment perspective, there's some background noise from somewhere. So from a environment perspective, we have to focus on what is going to happen to all the fly ash that sits in each of these thermal power plants, the contamination of water and soil, because this definitely has a whole lot of heavy metals, and all the structure that is left behind is also very risky. for reuse, for whatever purpose we're going to reuse them. And when it comes to job loss, I don't think we have enough data on the age factor in people who will lose jobs, because those in their 50s, are we going to invest in retraining them to something else? And will the youth in this sector be interested in doing something else? So there are very little case studies, very little data available for something like this. I would urge you to kind of, really look into these aspects from an environment perspective, because
As
while
part of my larger research area, there is a separate research to the
yeah,
undertaking, like because the states have got this district mineral fund DMF. So that is being utilized for this overall retraining and re-employment, all these services. So every state have got this district mineral fund, which is being utilized for all these purposes. And there's a separate, like how much it has been catered to and how much it has been utilized. So I'm doing a other study on that. So that I've not covered in this because the time was very short.
okay.
So that is a separate area which I'm overlooking into, of course, considering the environmental aspect.
Right. It'll
But
be
since
good
it's
to,
a short presentation, I couldn't
yeah, it'll be good
conclude it.
to get more information on that, and also from a ecological restoration.
Right.
Most of our mines are in a very sad state. They continue to be abandoned. They are catching fire. I have personally seen what is happening in Asansol. And you hear enough and more stories of the abandoned mines where further mining is going on, illegal mining is going on, and then some of the old mines there is subsidence, and people are losing their lives and livelihoods. There are fires. There are a whole lot of issues on hand there. It'll be good if you can cover all of that as well, at least in the introduction. If you can put all of that, saying that this is it is not as simple as it looks. It is a very complicated process, and put the challenges up front so that and then you can say that your research is focusing on just one or
Yeah.
two issues of it. That will be
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Kaushik. Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Next up, we have Parul Shilarji. Parulji, you can present, please.
Just a minute, I'll share my screen.
Right.
Is it visible?
Yes. Yeah.
My name is Parul Chelar, and my topic of research is circularity from the ground up, lessons from Dharavi for sustainable architecture. So, let me introduce you to Dharavi. Everyone might have heard of it in some part, somehow. It is Mumbai's largest informal settlement, often misunderstood, yet thriving as a hub of circular economy. Here, the waste is not discarded, it is repurposed, transformed, and given new life. So this photo essay explores how Dharavi's industries embody
Parul,
sustainability. Yeah,
yeah, your presentation is not up. We can see your screen, but the presentation is not the one that we're looking at.
just a minute. I'll try to share it again. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll go to the introduction part. Rethinking sustainability through Dharavi's informal systems. So, sustainability in architecture is often associated with high-tech innovations, yet Dharavi challenges this notion. Its recycling industries process nearly 80% of Mumbai's waste, ensuring closed-loop material cycles without institutional interventions. This organic model of circularity offers lessons for architects, urban planners, and policymakers worldwide, as this model generates an approximate turnover of 1 billion USD every year. The beginning of the settlement dates to the British era when the production industry started running. The movement of people to the city of dreams in search of work and a good life has led to the formation of a community like no other. The material flow in Dharavi, the life cycle of waste. So Dharavi's recycling ecosystem operates through decentralized networks, ensuring that discarded materials are circulated as new products in the market again. Let me talk about how different industries contribute to this circular economy. So first we talk about is plastic recycling. So here the plastic waste is collected, sorted and melted down to create pellets. So plastic is coming in from restaurants, hospitals, picked up from the streets by rack pickers and everyone. And this is brought in here. So here they are segregated based on color, quality, and then crushed into small pieces, cleaned, dried, and melted into pellets. These pellets are again given out in the market, and thousands of different types of plastic products are recreated from these pellets. So this plastic recycling industry plays a crucial role in reducing environmental pollution. Next, we talk about is metal recycling. So metal scraps from discarded appliances, vehicles are melted down and reshaped into roofing sheets, utensils, and different construction materials. So this industry plays a vital role in reducing metal waste. Items containing metals like electrical appliances, car parts, etc., are broken down by component to recycle the aluminum and copper used in them. Next, we talk about is cardboard recycling. So discarded cardboard is collected, compressed, and repurposed into packaging material. Leftover pieces of cardboard are sent to factories to make notebooks, magazines, and paper products. So this reduces the cutting down of trees for making paper, cardboard, boxes, and all those things. And it is again running in the same cycle. So we reduce the use of virgin materials here. Then how Dharavi is a community-led ecosystem. So Dharavi operates as one of the largest recycling hubs along with other specialized micro industries, which are also called as cottage industries here, are handling plastics, textiles, metals, and organic waste. So material tracking systems through informal ensure efficient recycles. The entrepreneurship culture in Dharavi pushes it towards running effective material flow in various other industries as well. So first is the soap industry. Here, waste oils from hotels, households are collected and refined to create soap. The ingredients are heated and liquefied. Then this is put into molds to set for 6 to 8 hours. After dried, they are sliced into small blocks, and the final product is then packed and distributed to different parts of India. So this product not only reduces waste but also provides affordable hygiene products for the community. The Dharavi also has food industries. Here, if people might have heard of Lijjat Papad, so most of them come from here. Even they have their local brand called Maharaja, which has namkeen, and it is also known for its sale of spices. Then another major industry is the leather industry. So there's a place near in Mumbai called Devnar. So from there they bring all the raw hides that is treated with sodium sulfides.
But would you please wrap up in a minute?
Yeah, sure. Then these products are made into, they have an entire process of how this leather is treated. Then it is put into different kind of products, and they even have their own local brand called Dharavi, in which they sell wallets, bags, belts, and everything. So next we move to textile industry. Here the discarded textile are collected, dyed, and repurposed into garments and household fabrics. Dharavi's textile industry ensures that waste fabric is minimized while supporting local artisans. Then we come to pottery. So clay from demolished, like all the debris and all, is collected and reclaimed to create pottery. This practice embodies urban circularity while materials are continuously repurposed, and it also keeps the artisans' thing going on. Then coming to adaptive architecture, unlike mainstream architecture, which often demolishes and rebuilds, Dharavi's approach is additive materials are salvaged, refurbished, and woven into new construction materials. The space utilization is a blend of residential, commercial, and industrial function, optimizing it as per use. The multifunctional use of space allows this business to thrive without requiring separate work areas. So all the industrial areas are often clubbed together to create enhanced efficiency. Even though planning is organic, but it serves as its purpose very effectively. Shared public spaces are used as communal spaces, also as market spaces to put these products out for sale. And it is also located at major transport hubs, including MML3 and suburban railway lines. So overall, it is a self-sustaining community which has incorporated all necessary things which are required in our daily life, and it is a very independent community which does not have to depend on the rest of the city for its work. So the policy integration, bridging informality and governance. So despite its efficiency, Dharavi's recycling networks remain disconnected from formal sustainability policies. Integrating these practices into urban planning could enhance sustainability across Indian cities. So the policy interventions could include recognizing informal recyclers as essential urban service providers, providing financial incentives for waste recovery industries, and developing infrastructure to support decentralized recycling hubs. As you could see in the pictures, the workspaces in where these people are working, it does not have proper ventilation, lighting, hygiene. So if that could be included in our policies, it could create a healthy work environment from them, and maybe we might get a better output also. So scaling Dharavi's model to other urban slums. Can Dharavi's success be replicated globally? So scaling this model requires infrastructure development, policy support, and financial backing for waste recovery enterprises. Successful replication of Dharavi's circular economy requires localized adaptation, so which could include developing infrastructure for material recovery centers in informal settlements, mapping resource flow across slums to identify circular economy potential, and also encouraging architects to design spaces that facilitate sustainable recycling networks. To conclude, I'll say Dharavi's circular economy is not an anomaly. It is a blueprint for sustainable urbanism. By learning from Dharavi, urban planners, architects, and policymakers can design cities and guidelines that reduce waste, embrace adaptability, and prioritize circular economies. The future of sustainable architecture lies in recognizing and integrating informal circular economies into mainstream urban planning. I'd like to end it with, in Dharavi, the space is not just occupied, it is optimized. Every square foot is a workshop, a home, a marketplace, and a testament to resilience. Thank you.
Thank you, Parul. And again, another excellent presentation. Thank you so much. It was very comprehensive. And I right now don't have any major suggestions, but maybe you already have it, and due to time constraints couldn't present it. If you could also put in some testimonies of people who you have spoken to, researched, I think that will add a lot of value to what you are saying. And maybe for policy and governance, if it can also come from the local people, because anyway they are doing it, and if that can be documented, if that process can be documented and made into a handbook or something, then it will become easier for it to replicate in other slums.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I'll try to incorporate that as well.
Yeah, just as a suggestion, so somebody else can pick it up from there and turn that into.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Thank you, Kajal. Next up, we have Yash's video presentation. Priyanka ma'am, would you please screen it?
We'll be taking Yash's video presentation later on. In the meanwhile, next Anurag Yadav can present.
Okay, Anurag Yadav, you may please start your presentation. Anurag Yadav ji?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. As someone who lives in Delhi, a city that constantly suffers from environmental challenges, I often reflect on the true cost of our development. For me, the environment is never a standalone issue. It's deeply interwoven with social justice. I firmly believe that all marginalized communities bear the brunt of environmental injustice. And this evening, I want to take you back in time to a cry for self-rule and justice that echoes across centuries, a cry that demanded sovereignty over Jal, Jungle, and Jameen. This was the powerful essence of Birsa Munda's Ulgan uprising. My presentation explores how this historical version remains incredibly relevant to our environment crisis today. We will examine how these echoes guide us through a truly sustainable future for all of us. Ulugan. Birsa Munda's vision of Jal, Jungle, and Jameen was revolutionary. For him, these weren't just resources, they were intrinsic to Adivasi identity, spirituality, and survival. His slogan, Abua Raj Setar Jana, Maharani Raj Tundu Jana, which means end the Queen's reign and establish our own rule. And this wasn't just about political freedom, but also ecological self-determination. The Ulugan Uprising was a direct challenge to British colonial policies that disopposed Adivasi communities of their land, forests, and water. These are images of Jhabua. I'll explain about it in this slide. My own understanding of this, this profound connection deepened during a visit to Jhabua, which images of which were shown in the previous slide. Initially, I went there to study the tribal population. To be honest, at first glance, I didn't find a lot of overt differences between them and the people in my own village. We all wore similar clothes, used similar tools, but after spending a week or so immersing myself in their daily lives, I had a profound realization. They truly value their environment in a way that I, despite my passion and understanding, hadn't fully grasped. My focus shifted. It wasn't just about the tribe anymore. It was about the environment and this incredible interwoven relationship that many of us in urban settings have lost. This personal experience solidified my belief that the fight for environment is truly inseparable from social justice. The echoes of Ulugan are not confined to history books. They resonate powerfully in contemporary India. Today, we see Adivasi communities standing as the frontline guardians of our biodiversity. They are the ones testing large-scale development projects, mines, dams, highways, which threaten their ancestral lands and destroy crucial ecosystems. Their resilience is vital because, as I have observed, environmental degradation hits the most vulnerable and marginalized communities first. When forests are cleared, it's often the Adivasi women who walk further for firewood, for water. The poor who lost their livelihoods and all marginalized communities who face displacement are vulnerable. Amplifying these indigenous voices means challenging dominant, often Eurocentric narratives that overtook traditional ecological knowledge and imposed top-down solutions. My research dives into how academic engagement, literature, and translation studies plays a pivotal role in reframing Adivasi studies. Moving beyond colonial lenses, true environmental solutions must come from those who live close to the land and have protected it for generations. Their traditional ecological knowledge offers sustainable models often ignored by mainstream approaches. In conclusion, the wisdom of Munda and living tradition of Adivasi communities offer us a profound pathway forward. To create genuinely effective environmental policy, we must begin by centering Adivasi epistemologies. And if I were to give some recommendations, it would be to fully implement the Forest Rights Act, to mandate free, prior, and informed consent for any projects, actively integrate traditional ecological knowledge, and to support Adivasi self-determination over their lands and resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurag. Yeah, for your presentation. It was excellent. Maybe you could just see how FRA has been implemented in the area that you studied. See what kind of community forest rights have been granted, what kind of individual forest rights have been granted, because now everywhere The challenge is, because the Forest Rights Act has not been implemented to its letter and spirit, that is the reason we are facing a whole lot of, resistance, which is rightfully, theirs. You probably have been reading what is happening in Nagarole, where the Jain Kurubas have come and occupied the land that belongs to them. So it'll be good to give that analysis of how much of the FRA has truly been implemented in the area that you have studied, because then that will justify everything else you say, right? Yeah, I think other than that, right now, I don't have any other suggestion for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Bhargavi, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So next we have Komal Kejriwal. Komalji.
Yes, yes. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'll just present my screen. Give me one minute,
Oh,
please.
okay, yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, just a second.
Is everything all right, Komal?
I think that I'm unable to present my screen. So
Can you please share your PPT to us? We'll present on your behalf.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Meanwhile, you do that, can we please move forward with the other participant?
Sure.
Okay. So next up we have Neeti Nair. Neeti ji, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
From where to?
Please accept the request to join as panelist. For all those who will be presenting today, please accept the request to join as panelists. Then you'll get the rights to sharing.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Hello, is it visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Yeah. It's a small photo essay. Prior to 2014, I was staying in Udaipur. It's a in a small town where we never had the concept of sending the waste outside. Everything, the wet waste was consumed by either by the street cows, or we used to use it for the garden purpose, and the waste, this plastic waste and all, everything was used to be recycled and repurposed and reused. So I have a very different thing when I came to Bangalore to see. Like any usual day, and like an ordinary Indian, I swipe the floor, pour water, put a rangoli, and keep my waste outside. I have saw, and I was waiting near the gate to see that some people who eco warriors, I call them eco warriors, they are called parikarmas. They came and they collected the waste, and I had a casual talk where it is going. He didn't told me anything much. He says there is one dumper type truck waiting. He will be giving it to that. So I planned that one day I will follow where my waste is going. So from there, the waste was, this is the point where all the waste were dumped. From there, another truck comes and collects it. Meanwhile, I have also inquired what is the waste composition and all about the Bangalore. Through BBMP, I got these datas. So I reached the place called Kormangala, solid waste management plant in Kormangala, where there was dry waste, west waste collection centers. It was center, but everything very small quantity, 5 ton, 2 ton, 4 ton, that way. And that was somewhat a ward specific. A beautiful thing I found out, there was a biomethanation plant which is using the wet waste, and they will convert it into bio-CNG, which is supplied to the nearby hotels for a nominal fees. These all things has been explained by Mr. Santosha, health inspector there. Then whatever the rest over the waste, what is left or mixed waste, that was all sent to the, if it is wet waste, excess they will send it to KCDC or Chiknagamanga plant. No. If segregated waste is not there, that is a mixed waste, then that was sent to the Mitiganandi. And the plastic waste, if they have more quantity, they used to send it to a dry waste collection center, which was below the Silk Boat flyover. So from there, I went to KCDC, Karnataka Compost Development Corporation. There they have a municipal solid processing plant where they usually use the aerobic decomposition windrow method. There you can see they have the shredders and they make the windrows to convert it into uh, compost. I have interacted with the people around here, and what I found is that it is a very close proximity to the residential areas, and people are suffering a lot with the odor issues. And lot many times they have the people got agitated. They wanted to close the plant. All those issues because of the odor. Have collected samples also. I have tested also. Even the compost was of considerably good quality only. Then I have visited this dry waste collection center. This is one of the pic taken by my friend. How the rat pickers in the areas collect waste on daily basis. I spent one day in the dry waste collection center, and this is what the composition I found out there. Then more detail I found out, like
It
more
would
than
really be
200
great if
dry
you
waste
could
collection centers are there in Bengaluru. They
excuse
are
me.
doing, yeah.
It would really be great if you could wrap up in a minute.
Yeah. It's done,
Oh,
almost done.
oh.
So what about the mixed waste? So here I have shown this is the waste treatment plant. We have 7 treatment plant and the total capacity is 2,300. But the waste composition, if I show here, it's about 6,000. So the existing processing plants are not enough to process all these. So what happens? The rest of the mixed waste, C&D waste, everything just goes to the finally goes to a Mitiganali landfill. It's just some 40 kilometers away from the city center. Some 500, 600 trucks daily goes there. You can see all through the way trucks waiting throughout the daytime. Only the dumping happens in the night. All the movements happen in the night time. And some 3,000 tons of dumps is daily. This you can see the pic of the quarry. It's literally, if you go near the quarry, literally you can feel the hell. Your eyes are burning, your throat will start choking. You can literally feel the emissions. You can feel the leachate flowing here and there. So that's how I track where my waste goes. Conclusions, waste management, it's a multifaceted approach. One thing cannot be implemented everywhere. And since we have a the capacity of the wet treatment plant is less, so it would be helpful if we do practice home composting, community composting, which will also aid in the urban food security. And we should ensure that there is 100% segregation at a source level. Then only the recycling units can work properly. Strengthening of the rat pickers, pौरकर्माs, then decentralization of the waste treatment and empowering the local communities, local governance, because every ward has their own challenges. They have different what you say composition. So again, empowering the local government, it would be really helpful. Then from people, our contribution, like we need to make a lot of lifestyle changes, create more public awareness, and people's participation is must for a better waste management. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeti. That was an excellent presentation. Again, very comprehensive and very well presented with all the facts. And the fact that you went, on a waste trail is something that is to be appreciated, because now how many of us really even wonder where our waste goes, right? Once it is chucked into the dustbin, we forget about it. But the fact that you went on a trail and figured out what happens to your waste is a story that needs to be told again. Couple of things that you could probably add is I also love the first point that you made, that in Udaipur how most homes made their own little composting in the backyard and used it for the garden. Bangalore was also one such city where I grew up. Unfortunately, today it is no longer so. So if we can add simple ways in which people can compost at the household level into your presentation, that will be motivating for people to adopt composting at the household level. So you may have heard of Poonam Bir Kasturi's daily dump, which is
Yes, ma'am, I have visited there.
Yeah, which is an easy method at the household level. Even in apartments, people can use it, and various other methods also exist. So if you can give these recommendations in your presentation, and also the fact that your pie charts showed that most of the waste is plastic, and that is where the problem starts. So you did mention lifestyle changes, but can we do something about it at the consumption level? You can't ask people not to buy their food, right, today, because most of us are working from home.
What I think is, there is the point, some policy intervention, some government support is required, because any local store, anywhere you get, everything is packed in plastics.
Yeah,
The very basic thing like the maize, corn, sweet corn,
correct.
the naturally God has given it a beautiful packaging. Why it has to be peeled and put a plastic cover over it? You are actually putting the microplastic in it.
Correct. It's the same thing with tender coconut. Tender coconut is chopped all over and wrapped in plastic. Doesn't make sense. So one is the policy level, and also if your recommendations can also go directly to all, for example, Instamart, Blinkit, and all of them. If they can also, as gig economy providers, look into
I should learn all these things yet.
look into it, and if they can reimagine their packaging, then see, gig economy providers, they have not started looking at the ESG, the environmental and social and governance aspect of it. So if they are also rated based on their ESG performance, they will definitely start looking into it, and that will help bring down the plastic waste to a large extent. And given that every region in our country has alternatives to plastic, right? We have the palash leaves, we have the banana leaves, we have the betel nut leaves, and today there are also variety of boxes that are made with betel nut stems and things like that. So when such alternatives are available, I think it is truly a time to address that. So if you can incorporate all that into your presentation.
Yeah, sure. I would like to add, 15 years ago when I was in Udaipur, milk was supplied in the
bottles.
Container.
Yeah.
Bottles. In Kerala also, it was the bottle we used to keep outside in the night.
Right.
They will pour and they will go.
Correct.
Similar way, if we want to buy food from the hotels, we used to carry our own containers. Tiffin boxes, large tiffin boxes used to be there, and used to get food from the hotels in that way. That time, all those plastic packaging was not so common.
Right. You should add all of this into the recommendations So then, for the reader and the people who are seeing it, you're not just highlighting the problem, you're also giving solutions, and that will be good for, it'll help in the uptake of proper solutions.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, ma'am. Surely, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Last two presentations took quite a really long time. I request all the fellows to kindly stick to the time constraint, which is 4 minutes only. So next we'd like to move with Ritvik Sinha. Ritvik, if you're ready, kindly please start with your presentation.
All right, just a minute. Just let me know once it becomes visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Is it in presentation mode?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. So I am Ritvik, and I will be talking about the symmetric impact of climate-insensitive urban planning in small towns in India. And I'll take particularly the case of Chintamani. In this photo essay, I'll try and show you the impacts of climate change and the ones that are most impacted by it. And I'll leave it up to all of you to determine if we as sector practitioners and our government need to do better. I'll just want all of you to have two questions at the back of your head as I take you through this photo essay. Uh, One is what causes emissions, and the other is what causes human sufferings, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. I just want to mention also here that this work is a byproduct of the ongoing effort of developing a climate-sensitive wash action plan for Chintamani by Boda, where I am currently employed. Okay, so Chintamani is a small town of about 90,000 residents in the Chikbalapura district in Karnataka, which is about 60 kilometers from Bangalore. And in this entire presentation, I've broken it into three major headers. One is environmental deterioration, urban neglect, where I talk about the urban planning bit of it. And finally, the most important part that I feel is the impact on the people in this space. So Chintamani faces cyclic drought and excess rainfall, with the area generally drought prone. So this is a picture that I took in April of this month. This is Kanampalli Lake, which is one of the most important surface water sources in Chintamani. It is not the biggest, nor does it have the biggest catchment, yet it is the only one which is free from wastewater incursion. Right at the start of summer, this is how it looked like. On the right, you can see that's a clear algal bloom, and most parts of the lake, I would say above 50% of it was dry. Chintamani has a total of 8 surface water sources, out of which 7 are either dry or polluted or encroached. On the top right, you can see it's Chikka Kanampalli lies south of Kanampalli, and it's bone dry. I've seen people play cricket there. And on the bottom, where you see sheep, that is actually a lake. Ramakunte is completely encroached. So where does Chintamani get its water from? Well, that's another lake that you see. Nekundi is completely invaded by the world's most invasive aquatic plant. That's the water hyacinth, and there is a heavy incursion of wastewater. So what is it that, where do they get their water from? So two things. It gets its water from bore wells. There are 322 in total. That's a big number, right? So no issues. Wrong. Only 85 of them are functional. That is the official count of public bore wells. There are innumerable private ones that are often erected haphazardly and do not have an official count. So where does it get the water from? It draws water from a lake called Bhaktaralli Asikere, which is about 15 kilometers away from the town. That is not a way to go about sustainably, but that is the reality, a rather wasteful one. Unofficial counts would say the non-revenue water in Chintamani is above 50%. That's not a nice number. Okay, so let's talk about the urban planning and the urban neglect of it all. What do you see on your screen on the right? That is something that in Karnataka we call Rajakalves. They are natural streams that take the water away from your localities into surface drains, surface water sources. It's not supposed to carry solid waste, but you can clearly see that there is a lot of construction and demolition waste and solid waste in it. On the left, at the top, you can see that stormwater, that's supposed to be a part of the stormwater network, that it's your roadside drain that's going to take away your stormwater whenever there's a rainfall. But what do you see there? That's a lot of solid waste, a lot of C&D waste. That's your construction and demolition waste. And at the bottom, unfortunately, that's a UGD network that's leaking into it. And these are not singular cases. There are lots and lots of such issues. So what happens when your UGD network gets uh, filled up with solid waste? Exactly what you see on the right. That is an overflowing manhole. And unfortunately, both these pictures were taken very close to each other. That's a water supply tank that the children that's in front of the house of these children, and they're just seeing what's going on. But these children are going to walk on the same roads as the overflow is taking place. That is not the right way to go about business.
Ritvik,
Uh,
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but would you please just wrap in a minute?
I'll try. I'll try. So on the right, you see a bore well that is defunct. On the left, what you see is a surface water drain that has completely been overtaken by UGD incursions. I identified the most hazardous zone to live in Chintamani. That's a circle spanning 2.4 square kilometers, 16% of the town area, and home to 36% of the population. That's not the place where you want to be. And obviously, when we talk of vulnerability, the most vulnerable people end up eventually being women who have to carry water from distant sources and do the dishes. We all know the story. I'm not going to get into it. But Chintamani is being still held together by an able set of 100 full-time and short-time sanitation workers. But I feel that's a losing game. Why? We spoke with them. They keep telling us time and again that they're stretched thin. They do not have the resources to take up all the issues that are coming up. But here is the major problem, and I'm going to refer to two of the sessions that came before me. On the left, you see the legacy waste site in Chintamani. And on the right is the fresh waste that is being generated and handled by the sanitation workers. This causes 60% of the emissions that Chintamani has. That the legacy waste site is about 50,000 tons and growing every year. And the annual emissions from it is 15,000 ton carbon dioxide equivalent and growing. Those are bad figures. So I'll quickly wrap up with the people aspect of it. We spoke with all these families, with all these people, and they had their own issues. They had their own problems that they wanted to share with us. All of them talked about the public toilets, how bad they are, why they cannot take up with, why is there issue of water supply. We went to the marketplaces, we spoke with the sellers, what their issues were. I have tried to come in terms with the fact that a lot of things need to happen, and a lot of things need to happen at multi levels. And it's not going to change overnight, but the change has to start somewhere. I will not take up a lot of time. I know we've gone overboard, so I'll just end it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritvik. Very nice pictures, and yes, your photo essay says a lot. I've just also posted in the WhatsApp group a little booklet on how lakes across Karnataka enjoy the protection from a court order that came way back in 2012. That might be relevant, and if you want to take it up in your own work and do something about it, that would be good. A series of workshops also had covered Kolar district. I think Chintamani falls in Kolar, so the officials there will definitely be aware of those provisions. So it might be useful for you to go back and remind them. With respect to all the challenges, it will be good if you can also, use the provisions of the Town and Country Planning Act, the Karnataka Town and Country Planning Act, and show some of the provisions. Maybe even take photos of some provisions which address these issues. And the fact that the Town and Country Planning Act is not used meaningfully is a very critical issue when it comes to town planning. And again, another problem you could probably also highlight is the failure of local governance, because we've not had local government elections. And the challenges, like I have all mentioned a couple of times, the lack of implementation of the 73rd, 74th Amendment, lack of proper implementation of the Karnataka Municipal Administration Act. All these are big challenges, and also the challenge of having given the governance of our cities, the planning of our cities to parastatals. That is where the problem lies, and there is no ownership there. When parastatals are operating, they're all operating with a very selfish interest of, procuring land and doing what they want to do there, and they never work in coordination with each other. And
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
result, the cities and towns see this problem. I don't know if Chintamani is also one of those selected for the smart city project. The smart city project has been a failure. I've seen some of it in Tumkur and a couple of other places. If you want to highlight that, that would also be good. Yeah, so in the interest of time, you can reach out to me and we can have a chat on it. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Thank you, Ritvik. Next, we'll be going with Komal's presentation. We'll be sharing your picture, Komal. You may start speaking on that.
Sure.
Priyanka ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So, very good evening to everyone. Today I would be going ahead with one of the poems. So we all might have, heard or read the poem Daffodils, many poems related to, environment and nature-friendly poems. And like we might have went through a lot of these. So yeah, so the title of my poem is Roots and Rivers, Bonds and Bills. The poem starts with the phrase, "The forest breathes where silence grew," a promise made in morning brew. But change now knocks with rising seas. Now knocks with rising seas, and gold must flow to guard the trees. From carbon trades to greener banks, let justice rise through climate ranks. Finance fuels the future's fight to heal the world and do what's right. So here there has been an attempt to connect nature, climate change, and finance in a very short and creative manner to show the saving environment isn't about awareness, it's more about action. Somewhere or other, it is also talking about the funding that is one of the action which is required for climate change. Climate finance is bridge between knowing the problem and solving it. So when we talk about the first stanza, these lines are talking how peaceful and alive our forests are, how peaceful that greenery and that silence is. They are existed quietly for thousand years, helping us by cleaning the air and supporting the biodiversity. The morning dews stands for the freshness and the hope that we get after every morning that we are waking up with. Climate change is no longer, but change now knocks with rising seas. This particular line in the first stanza tells us about how climate change is no longer something far away. It's here. Sea levels are rising. High time we should be awake because storms are stronger and we are already seeing damage around the world. Whereas the fourth line gives us the hope that how those guards can be helped. So these line means that environment needs climate finance. It's about investing in things like clean energy, forest protection, better infrastructure for people affected by the climate change. And the second stanza here is mainly
Komalji,
talking about the
I'm so
climate
sorry to
solution.
interrupt, but would you please wrap up in a minute?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, in the second stanza, we are talking more about the carbon trading is a system where companies can buy or sell the right to pollute, encouraging them to lower the emission. Not everyone here is affected by climate change. Thus, we talk about the climate equality. The poorer countries and communities face more harm even though they have contributed the least. With the right investment, we can develop solutions, support innovation, and build climate resilience. The final line brings together all together beyond science and policy. Protecting the environment is simply the right thing to do for people, for the planet, and to the future generation. So yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Komal. That's such a lovely poem that says so much in just such few lines, and it was lovely to listen to you explaining line by line. Yeah, I think you should send it to most of the dailies and other newspapers and elaborate each of those lines so that it helps raise awareness. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Komalji. Next up, we have Karthik. Karthik, are you ready? You may please start with your presentation.
Yes, am I visible and audible perfectly?
Yeah.
Okay. Is my PowerPoint visible?
Yeah, it's not on the presentation mode though.
Okay. Okay, now.
Yes, now.
Okay. So my project was titled as Greenwashing in Global Corporations and the Gap Between Marketing Claims and Reality. Greenwashing basically means where you give a quoting that a product is environmentally friendly, but it's not true. So this was first done by TerraChoice in 2007, where they described 6 sins. But this was in 2007, but these are still being followed right now, and people don't realize it. So the first one is the sin of the hidden trade-off, which where the focus of the company is that they focus on a single environmentally positive aspect to promote, and the reality is that they are neglecting other issues. So we all know H&M's conscious collection, where they claim that they are using organic cotton in their clothes, but it's only 20% organic cotton used, and if we look at the reality, then they are still burning 12 tons of new unsold clothes each and every year. So they are hiding this truth behind a positive quote. And it was exposed by many news articles as well. The next one is the sin of no proof, where they focus on any random environmentally positive claim, but there's just no proof. It's a lie. And for this, the Dove's eco campaign and reusable campaign was exposed, where they were promoting that Dove uses sustainably sourced palm oil and it's reusable and all. But an NGO, it's something which is called Greenpeace, made a case where it's a lie and all that plastic is still going to the landfills. There's nothing they are doing. There's no proof of whatever sustainable claims they are facing. Next one is the of fakeness, where they use random jargons which have no real meaning. So Nescafe is pretty infamous for this. There are for some examples. The first one is the Kit Kat, which says I'm made with recycled plastic, but they don't mention what percent of plastic they are using. In reality, they were using just 5% of recycled plastic. Then there's this sustainably sourced cocoa. We don't know what that means. They haven't given any metrics. If you look at the website, then they say that respect for the environment which nourishes every day, natural resources, water, air are foundations of life and must be conserved. It's not like they are conserving, they are saying that it must be conserved. So they are giving a positive image, meanwhile hiding their own sustainable agendas. The fourth one is the sin of irrelevance, where they again make a random claim, but this has no relevance at all. For example, these products which you see in front, they claim that they are CFC free. A normal person would be happy, like, yeah, that's good. But CFC is banned. That's why they are not able to use it. But they are claiming as if they have made the step of not using CFC. So this is just a distraction. The next one is the sin of fibbing, which is an entire lie. It's not like there's no proof. It's completely lie. So a toilet paper company called Kimberly Clark Again, Greenpeace made a case on Kimberly-Clark for cutting a lot of forest in Canada. And in the second, they then claim that they will use recycled fabric. But in the second image, you can see that in 2021, still they are using only 20% of recycled fibers. They're still using virgin pulp from fresh trees cut down in Canada by 80%. And the last one is the sin of the lesser two evils, where they focus on some random environmental claim, but it distracts the reality, which is only less harmful. Like if we look at natural organic tobacco cigarettes, so any person would think that, oh, it's better for us than regular cigarettes, but it's not, because the main solution of smoking is to stop smoking. The solution is not to have organic tobacco. And claims were made that this is even more dangerous because more nicotine fillers were found here. Their ads convey that their cigarettes are less harmful and non-addictive, but actually they were more addictive.
Karthik,
50,
so
yeah,
sorry, Karthik, could you please wrap up in a minute?
yeah, I'm done. So in this way, they were giving incorrect solutions. And some policy recommendations are that regulatory bodies should mandate that all claims are truthful and verified. There should be actual third-party bodies which verify these claims, and effective enforcements or penalties should be done on these claims. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. That was an excellent presentation. I don't have any particular recommendations, but you may want to read a lot of Subir Ghosh's articles on textile related stuff. You may have already. So I think it's a fantastic presentation. I would love to read your final essay also on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik. Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have Saloni Sharma. Saloni ji, are you ready? Saloni Sharma ji.
Yeah, I think in the chat she says yes.
Are you unable to speak, Saloni ji? No, you are not audible. You might need to accept promote to panelist option.
It was already in panels. Yeah, Saloni, please try now.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. One second. Yeah. Yes. Is my screen also visible?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Saloni, and the topic for my presentation is eco-spiritualism, which is a transformative pathway to sustainable living. I have done a survey of 100 spiritual enthusiasts who are doing some kind of spiritual practice like yoga, meditation, devotion, mindfulness. And in this survey, I've included various questions about their relationship with their environment. And what I've tried to show is that what is the relationship they have with environment, conservation, etc. So let's start with understanding the need for eco-spiritualism. As we all know here that our planet is facing soil degradation, climate change, deforestation, biodiversity loss, etc., etc., etc. And people who are in this field, they are very much aware of it. We know what is soil degradation, we know climate change, but an average person, let's say, who's working on a storm water management or cleaning the solid waste, liquid waste, they don't understand these big terms, right? For them, this jargon is really heavy and difficult. So what is the way we can use to make them understand and feel for environment? The answer is very simple. The traditional environmentalism, which is not fear and anxiety based, rather it is a heart centered approach, which makes people fall in love with rain, fall in love with soil, which makes people respect trees as their family members, cattle as their family members, and various practices which they can do in their daily lifestyle to develop emotion and knowledge for the environment. This is what eco-spiritualism essentially is. So, in eco-spiritualism, nature is not seen as a dead or a intellectual thing which is supposed to be dissected and is to be understood. Rather, in eco-spiritualism, there is a reverence, and a person is supposed to stay with nature, connect with nature, and explore nature through various techniques, right? So I in my survey I connected with 100 people who are actively participating in any spiritual practice and I chose 4 cities: New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Coimbatore. The participants were engaging in some kind of environmental uh, campaign and spiritual practice at the same time. So my key findings were, I would like to show you my uh, results. These were the people. Is my survey visible? My graphs visible? Are my hello?
No, no, your graphs are not visible.
Oh, okay. Okay. One second. Yes, I think they will be visible now.
Yeah.
So this is the age group. Mostly people were of 31 to 45. Sorry, mostly people were from 19 to 30 plus 31 to 45 age group. So middle-aged young people, equal, almost equal female and male participation. Mostly they were Hindus, but I tried to bring people from different communities. Mostly they had bachelor's or master's degree. They were either homemakers or independently employed. And as you can see in my survey, most of them were doing 1 to 5 hours of practices. So they were not a normal or random people. Um, yeah. So then questions that I included were is their concern for environmental degradation has increased with their spiritual journey? And most of them, which is 76%, said yes. As they did their yoga, meditation, mindfulness, their concern for environment has increased. And they they were contributing positively to recycling, not wasting water, creating awareness on social media, connecting with soil, say, not consuming too much clothes, wasting food by eating fast food. Their awareness was very high. So as you can see, there were many questions. This one was my particularly favorite question: what is the level of their material consumption? And most of them said medium or low. Their consumption of things, most of them was not high. And with the more the practices they did, the more their consumption came down. As you can see with this shopping and gadgets, it came down. The time they consumed their things also came down. They Most of the gadgets that they were using for um, uh, at least 8 years to 10 years, which is a very good sign. So this is what I'm trying to show through my PowerPoint presentation, that politicians, NGOs, and all the spiritual organizations need to focus on promoting eco-spiritualism because it is a heart-centered approach, and it is understandable to a common person. These heavy jargon words most likely are not understandable or relatable with a common man or a woman. So there are 3 ways by which we can do it. First is through including.
I'd request you to kindly wrap up in a minute.
Yes, of course. So by first way is through introducing environmental curriculum, spiritualism into the environmental curriculum. For example, when students start the day with their morning prayer in the school, they can do sun salutations, they can walk in the soil, something like that. Then the spiritual leaders and the NGOs, they need to work together hand in hand. Spiritual leaders can do so much in motivating people in seeing God or divine things in soil, water, air. Then promoting campaigns which are based on their traditional spiritual beliefs, right? There are so many traditional spiritual beliefs. If they're promoted in the right way, in the right spirit, it can do great wonders. Okay, so yes. So I hope this explains what I'm trying to say, and what is the power of spiritualism in today's world, and what is the need to simplify environmentalism, simplify and bring techniques which are possible to follow in day-to-day lifestyle. Just intellectually understanding why trees are important is not enough. Being with them, sitting with them, being with the river, feeling the river, meditating in the river, besides the river, touching the soil, all these have shown positive impact in a person's life. Then we don't have to explain to every individual that save soil, save water. If they can experience the water in a deep way, soil in a deep way, nature in a deep way, then they will themselves save environment. That is the point of eco spiritualism. So thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for hearing me out. That means a lot.
Thank you, Saloni. That was a very interesting presentation and also a lovely way to connect with nature. In today's world, most of us are so disconnected. This brought in some very interesting perspectives. Thank you. If I can think of suggestions, I'll definitely, put it in the group WhatsApp. Right now, I don't have any suggestions. It was a nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for hearing me out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Saloni ji. Next up, we have Lisi Mew. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but if you're ready, you can please start with your presentation. Lisi Mew ji. Last call for Lisi Mew ji. All right. In that case, we'll move ahead with the other fellow,
No,
Aishwarya.
easier. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Uh, Listener is not audible. Uh, is it just me?
No, we are also not able to hear him. He's connecting to audio. Yeah, he's now connected.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. So sorry. I'm having some technical issue. That's what I'm so sorry to
Yeah,
keep
please
you all
start. It's
waiting.
okay.
Yes, ma'am. Just want to take you all into a short conservation activities of Nagaland. So myself, DCMU, and then I'm the founder of Eco Warriors Nagaland, an organization working for spreading wildlife conservation in Nagaland. So I have a content here: introduction, constitution, and wildlife. Uh, what wildlife means, just to approach the basic way of people here in Nagaland. As you all know that we as in Nagas are mostly into hunting, and then it's in our blood. So in order to approach, it's someone like me who is nature conservation practitioners. It's not easy for us to approach people. So yeah, all these things I have a pictorial format which I will be all taking you. Yes, just a basic way of approaching introduction. As we all know, forests, we depend on forests, and even animal to without vegetation, it's difficult to survive. So forest, human, and then wildlife depends on each other. That's what. Yeah. So like example, like I have mentioned here, cloud, food, and all. Yes. Next, we all know that we are governed by the laws and articles or to protect wildlife. So here are some articles which I have mentioned to make people aware while I approach for conservation activities. So especially when it comes to Nagaland, we all know that it's governed by this Article 371A, and then it's the forests are mostly owned by the community. So on the top of that, even Wildlife Protection Act 1972, whatever Forest Act is being mentioned here and passed in the system to approach the people, to make people know that the importance of conservation here. Next, we have what wildlife. What is wildlife? So when we give seminar and then when we present to people as a conservationist, we talk about wildlife not domesticated. Yeah. Yes. Can you please change the slide? Hello.
Priyanka ma'am, please change the slide.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. These are the examples I have said. Wildlife for the people while I approach. Yes. Yes. Elephant. All these are the wildlife. What? Yes. Himalayan black bear. Yes. Slow loris. Leopard. Western holocaust. Yes. Yes, so just to set an example, as we all know, when we if I place a six from my side to your side, obviously you will say it's nine, and the perspective of different perspective, but we are working on the same goal, which is conservation. So just a picture I have placed this for an example of having different perspective, but then having the same goal. Yes, next please. Yes, I also have mentioned some habitats of wildlife in Nagaland. So we have one national park, which is Intangi National Park, and we have three sanctuaries: Pulipazi Wildlife Sanctuary, Kohima, which is in the capital, and then for Phakim Wildlife Sanctuary, bordering with Myanmar, and then the other Simpon Wildlife Sanctuary that is also bordering with the Myanmar. And then we have one zoo Nagaland Zoological Park, where captive animals are being kept. So apart from that, we also have community conservation areas which are practiced by the
So,
people.
I'm so
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, but please wrap up in a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next, please. Yes. Just showing you the 200 elephant which is trapped in one district because all the corridors have been disturbed by the habitation of humans. So we have Falcons, which is been declared as the capital of Falcons capital of the world by the government of India in 2013. So yeah, these are the stories indicating male and female. Yes, yes. This is in Wokha Toyang Reservoir where Amur Falcon is roasting. Yes. Yeah, in 2012, there were so many people. Since people were not aware of this importance of this, but they have been hunting. But later on, after learning the importance of conservation, people have already come forward. Time has changed, and people are initiating so many activities towards conservation. Pictures that are practiced in 2012 and 13, people trapping and hunting of amber falcon. Yes. Yeah, steps taken. I have mentioned all these areas. Department along with the organization different communities with the involvement of communities have set different strategies to save the birds, including the district administrations. Yes. This is satellite tech bird from Nagaland. Yes. Yes, we have Nagaland Zoological Park, and I have shared some pictures from the park. Yes, thank you so much. This is just a short presentation taking you all to Nagaland, yeah, with this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for walking us through, the rich biodiversity of Nagaland. Right now, I don't have any suggestions, but if I can think of something, I will definitely add. Something that just comes as I'm talking to you is maybe you could add a few examples of what made people change their practices. If you could interview people who had hunted and now are part of the conservation, that would be a good thing. And also if somebody has learned more and has contributed to raising awareness and helping in the conservation practice, that would be a good addition to your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Maybe in the future I'll come with more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargavi ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Lesimu. So next we have Aishwarya Nayak. You may please
Yes.
present. Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Aishwarya Naik. I'm an environmental engineer, and my topic is rejuvenation of India's dying water, wastewater management in the age of climate stress. It includes the challenges we are facing and the solution we have to adopt. So the presentation includes the technical things, because I'm technical person and I strongly believe that with the help of technology only we can achieve our goal. So India, uh, it is the land of sacred rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, right? But now it is choked and it is foaming with toxins. We are seeing rivers becoming nalas. So what went wrong? So study says daily over 62 billion liter of water is generated and less than one third is treated. Means only 30% is treated and the remaining wastewater flows in the river, lakes, groundwater. So actually, I thought pollution is only because of the water coming from the industry and which is not treated and it is thrown as it is, but it is not in the reality. When I started to study, I realized that more than 60% of a sewage is the main reason. Means this domestic sewage is the main reason, and it is the main thing responsible for pollution. Here is the pie chart that shows the percentage of wastewater generation. So there is more than 60% of domestic sewage, 25% is industrial wastewater, 10% is agriculture, and 5% is other. So water appear in different color because of different pollutants, of course. I am living in Pune, and this is the picture of the Mura River in Pune. So it is the recent picture. I took the photo of the river day before yesterday. You can clearly see that the color of the river is gray. I don't want to go deep into that, but I just want to tell you that gray water means polluted, of course, but the next step of it is black and which can't be treated easily. So here are the key challenges in wastewater management. In India, now 1,000 STP means sewage treatment plants are working, and 400 are in non-working conditions. So that is why 60% domestic sewage is thrown in the river as it is. So to fill this gap, we need 1,000 new STPs. So there are the other challenges also, like operation and maintenance of the STPs are also low, and the fragmented government also, because of the poor coordination between the government, between the state and the central government, the funding delays, and it results to policies fail. Um, so of course, there are solutions for this. Small STPs on community premises, apartment buildings. So it is the best solution. But you think that it is not possible because it takes too much space and it is not feasible to use. But it is possible. In the first picture, shows the underground STPs building premises, which collects the domestic sewage and it releases the clean water. The second one is a simple biodigester, right? I don't want to tell you the actual mechanism, but in simple, it is like a advanced septic tank, which we can easily place in the replacement of septic tank, and the water coming from it we can easily use for the plants also. So then the sensor on drains. So we have pipelines for CNG in our homes
Sorry to
with the
interrupt, Aishwarya,
sensor.
but please wrap up in a minute. We have a
Yes,
long.
sir. Yes. So we can install sensors and meters also for wastewater drains to track the flow, to check the water quality, and to detect the pollution. So here are some successful case studies. Small STPs are planned in communities and apartment in the Kalani Nagar in Pune itself. This is the image of simple biodigester under the toilet and kitchens also. And in the smart city, that is indoor, there are sensors on drains are used. So I worked as an intern in the Phenolics for a few years back. I saw Phenolics is zero discharge industry, and I think every industry have to follow the methods to become a zero discharge. So wastewater is not just a waste; it's waiting to be reclaimed, and it's our responsibility to regeneration of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for that excellent presentation, and I'm sure it will be very useful for all our cities. An example you may want to include is how the Kham River in Aurangabad, about 20 kilometers of it today flows clean. That is the first ever example in India where a river has been cleaned. Of course, they didn't have major industrial sewage coming into it, but with domestic sewage, they've managed to do, I think, most of the things that you've already mentioned. It'll be good if you can look into the details, and you could include that also as a good example from India to show people that, we can clean rivers eventually. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. So next we have my own presentation. Priyanka ma'am, would you please run my PPT? Is the PPT visible to everyone? I don't think, yeah. Bhargavi ma'am, I've not added much details in the PPT, but most of it I'll be speaking only. So today I want to talk about the kind of climate action we rarely hear about, which is very quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in tradition. I am speaking about the everyday environment work done by rural and tribal women in India. During my field work in the villages of Hakimpur and Achnar in Khajuraho, Madhya Pradesh, I lived amongst these women, observed their routines, and I listened to their stories. And what I witnessed changed my understanding of what sustainable really means. So, sustainability for them is something very different. These women don't call themselves environmentalists. They don't use terms like climate resilience or carbon footprints, but their lives are full of small, powerful acts that protect nature. So, they paint clay pots with natural colors like turmeric and beetroots, and they save rainwater in earthen pots during the monsoons. They plant native trees to protect their soil. They don't give space to invasive species, or they don't, give space to chemical dyes. And additionally, they also worship trees, rivers, and even stones, what the other fellow called eco-spiritualism. So treating nature as sacred, not just as a means to acquire things and using it for just their own use, is what I've witnessed over there. And there was this woman who told me that we use what the earth gives us, and that's how we show our love. In that sentence, I heard generations of knowledge and care. Intergenerational transmission of knowledge is what I'm talking about. And but the problem that I noticed over there is that these women's contributions are missing from the climate policies and discussions. Most environmental plans focus on cities, big projects, and data. But what about the people closest to the land? Writers like Beena Agrawal and Nandini Sundar have, shown how, even Vandana Shiva, they've shown how tribal and rural women are often excluded from environmental decision making. And my fieldwork also confirmed the same thing. These women are active but are unheard, to be very straightforward. And additionally, I would also like to add that in these villages, culture and climate care are one and the same thing. They worship nature during festivals. They teach their children through stories and not textbooks. Even when modern tools enter their lives, they use them in a traditional way. So their knowledge doesn't come from a policy document, it comes from a living, closely with the land. So real climate action isn't only about numbers and new technologies, it's also about love, habit, and quiet care. So the women I met are not just surviving, they are protecting the planet every day. And if we want meaningful, inclusive climate solutions, we must start by listening to the people like them. Their work matters, their stories matter, and they deserve to be a part of climate conservation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very brief and yes, very pertinent, very sharp, and you managed to say a lot in just a few slides.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think something that ran across all the slides is the fact that in traditional knowledge, it also speaks of the philosophy of life itself. The fact that we are
Right.
all so transient, and they see God, whoever we call God, something divine in
Exactly.
trees
Yeah.
and stones and soil and river and water and everything. Whereas once you come into urban areas, we start making Ganeshas and Durgas with clay and plastic and
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can also just highlight that,
I
and
will. I'll surely add that in my essay now. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So after me, we have other fellow, Harini G. If I'm
Yes.
pronouncing your name. Yeah. Please
Hello, I'm
start.
Harini.
Yeah.
My project is on ocean governance, and it's pre-recorded and sort of cinematic. Could you please play it, ma'am? I've sent it to IMPRI. Okay. From the thresholds of the coastlines to the deep blue trenches, spanning the poles to the equator, the ocean is somewhat a sentient entity itself. It lives through its movements, drawing breaths with every swell and retreat. It exists as a formidable conveyor belt, circulating heat, nutrients, and even life, all while regulating the climate and feeding ecosystems. Civilizations revered the seas. Our ancestors held the vast watery expanse in quaint and mystical regard, often referring to it as the final frontier of life in some cultures. Despite its occasional tantrums, it still shelters millions, drives economies, and anchors lives. But what stirs underneath makes one ponder about human hypocrisy. We've glorified the ocean just to desecrate it. Trawlers and dredgers erase what once was. Overfished species collapse beyond recovery. Plastic replaces plankton, burying the planet in a chokehold. With impending degradation, it's the coastal communities who face the displacement first, and they're also the first to lose their harvests and their histories. India's environmental legislation is rather commendable on paper. Deemed progressive and comprehensive, it recognizes the inherent sanctity of nature and centers itself around ethical principles. But have the promises on paper really held against profit? It seems economic convenience takes precedence. Coastal regulation zones being redrawn to accommodate ports, real estate, and industrial corridors have not been unheard of. Rarely, or if ever, do communities actually get consulted for decisions made that affect them the most. Despite its aspirational jurisprudence, India's legislative enforcement appears inconsistent, and compliance often feels performative. Humanity has always been desperate to explore new frontiers in hopes of acquiring potential mineral reserves. Land-based mining once proved phenomenal, powering growth, but the ecological damages are prominent and undeniable. While fiction once glorified deep-sea mining, today it might become a reality. Rampant consumption feeds into a throwaway culture that's deeply unsustainable. Rooted in obsolescence, our quest to build technology using minerals from the ocean floor only deepens our dependency on unviable extraction. And despite all the notoriety of humans, the ocean teaches us to endure. For all that's been taken, it still gives. And when given the chance, it even recovers. And maybe, if we choose to revere the ocean by exercising restraint, for all we owe it, perhaps this is how we begin to give back. Yeah, that was it.
Thank you, Harini. Very well made in just a few minutes. Your little film says so much.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Harini. Next, we have Priya. Priya, could you go ahead with your presentation, please?
Screen is visible for everyone. Hello.
Yes, yes.
My voice clear? Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Uh, I'll start my presentation. India's march toward a greener economy has become more urgent than ever. Amid this transition, one potent but underutilized force has emerged, that is women-led green entrepreneurship. From remote rural districts to the heart of urban India, women are launching ventures rooted in sustainability, resilience, and social innovation. Although the numbers are rising in these entrepreneurs, uh, they operate in an ecosystem which is heavily loaded with hurdles like financial challenges and gender constraints. My presentation examines existing government interventions, find the gaps, and present some recommendations. So the title of my presentation is Women-led Green Entrepreneurship: How India's policy environment can more effectively support and amplify the women-led green businesses. Women's entrepreneurship in India has grown steadily yet unevenly, despite the rising aspirations and policy attention. Uh, attention, female entrepreneurs remains a small fraction of total business owners. We see that only 18% of the startups are owned by women, yet their contributions are transformative. Being businesses led by women are often community focused, leveraging the local knowledge and focus on sustainability, whether it's renewable energy, organic agriculture, ecotourism, or circular waste management. Women entrepreneurs are driving inclusive environmental innovations. These are the initiatives that government has already taken. On the left side, you're seeing the central government schemes, and the other side, we have the schemes from the banks. Just to let you know that there are numerous schemes in place already. Although we have these schemes, we'll see how these are impacting. So these are the two success stories that I've included in my presentation. The first one is about Premlata Bain, a micro entrepreneur from Bikaner, who has leveraged the training she had attained through these trainings, which helped her to uh, enhance her business through digital payments. And then we have Rita Bain from West Bengal, who has used her training in agarbatti production to launch her business. So there are many success stories that we have, but these stories have something common, which is that what they generally offer is these schemes that we have mentioned above. They have they are they are generally these are very generalized. They don't have specific. They are not specifically focusing upon women and their issues that they are going through. So there is limited access to climate finance, technical training, and market connectivity. Also, the awareness and uptake of such programs remains low in the rural and the semi-urban areas. If we talk about what is missing in these ventures or in the policies that we have, is women frequently face difficulty assessing the
I'm so
capital.
sorry to interrupt, but would you please wrap up in a minute?
So I'll just wrap up in a few minutes. Access to green finance, technical and market knowledge gaps. We have socio-cultural barriers, public visibility, and responsiveness. If we talk about what India needs ahead, that is gender-sensitive green finance, capacity building in green sectors, localized incubation programs, policy integration and monitoring, awareness and outreach, public and private collaboration. In the end, I would like to just mention one thing that I have received as a suggestion also. Recently, I have interviewed a woman entrepreneur who is a professor in Delhi University. While I was discussing her entrepreneurship venture with her, she said that she has not faced any major challenges being a woman. So what intrigued me was what I would like to do ahead is to compare her situation, like of coming from coming from an affluent class, a knowledgeable lady who has given social support that she has, and comparing her with another case which can just bring into the picture of the impasse that women is not a homogeneous group in India. We have this class, caste, and educational backgrounds which differs in all. So I would like to bring in that. In the end, I would say if we want the change, the kind that stays, let women lead the greener ways. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priya, for that excellent presentation. And yeah, like you rightly have figured out, it'll be good to interview somebody who falls at the intersection of caste, class, and other biases. So we will get to understand this better. And you could also probably bring in some learnings from Rojava, where there is a huge women-led movement despite the war-torn northern Syrian region. There is so much that we can learn from there. Yeah.
Sure,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Maya ji. Maya ji, if you're ready with your presentation, please start. Maya P.
And I think they're not in the panel.
They're not in the panel.
No, they've not joined it.
Okay. So, Komal's presentation also we are done. I think
We have Yash's video recording left, so we'll just do that. Will be the last thing for today.
Okay, please start now.
Yeah, could you give me a minute, please?
Pursuing Bachelors of Arts honors in Economic and Sociology with minors in Political Science. My research for the fellowship is based on climate finance, where I am comparing efficiency of climate finance in India and China. So for my creative assignment, I chose to write poem on climate finance. It is titled "It is not what it seems to be." So here I go. We keep counting money neatly and proudly, as if calculation could calm a cyclone, as if compensation could grow back a vanished tree. We throw money at smoke and pretend the fire is gone, and stand still while the soil gives way beneath us. They say we are on track, that the graph are curving in the right direction, that finance will tame the floods, cool the fever, silence the sky's rage. But I no longer hear the birds who once nested outside my window, and in a city coughing into its own silence. No grants has ever brought back a single breath that was lost. I have watched children run through water where harvest once stood tall, ankles where grains belonged, laughter where one now only survival speaks, and yet in distant hall, beneath the hum of projectors, they promise the earth that she will be saved, but not just yet, just after the budget settles. But this isn't healing, it's the art of delay. It's affection outsourced to funding cyclone and cycles and fiscal years. No matter how generous the pledge, what we have broken remains broken when we refuse to stop breaking it, and no amount of finance can bring what we've already lost. So I so this was my poem for the creative assignment. Thank you for the opportunity to present my poem. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Yash Kumar. I am currently.
Thank you. That was an excellent poem and a lovely way to, close today's session, because he said it all in such a lovely way through the poem. So thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks to Priyanka and Sanya Verma for their patience and, curating this whole set of presentations. And thanks to all you participants for your excellent presentations and excellent areas of research that you've taken up. Wishing you good luck as you complete your final versions of the assignments. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I thank all our fellows for putting forth their unique and creative ideas and giving this fellowship its shape in the right direction. Bhargavi, ma'am, would you like to share the closing remarks?
Uh, yeah, I think, like I said, the closing poem was beautiful because it brought in so much, and every presentation was really fantastic. You all have put in so much effort, and you all have incorporated quite a bit of what you learned on the program itself, and that was very important, while you brought in some very good references from outside. And I think moving forward, it'll be wonderful to see your final presentations, final versions of your presentations, and the compendium which will eventually be published. It has a diverse set of themes, so this year's assignments also are very interesting, from climate finance to the importance of traditional knowledge. I think we have a range of issues which are all very comprehensive. So yeah, thank you so much for all your efforts.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much once again. With this, I'll move on to the formal vote of thanks. As we come to the end of day 10 of Environment Policy and Action Youth Fellowship Cohort 2.0, an online international summer school program, a 3-month online immersive introductory leadership training certificate fellowship program, I, Sanya, researcher at IMPRI, Impact and Policy Research Institute, would like to propose the formal vote of thanks on behalf of IMPRI, New Delhi. We sincerely thank our chair, Bhargavi S Rao ji, for taking out your valuable time and allowing us to learn from this online certificate program. And we thank all our fellows once again who have raised pertinent questions and actively participated in today's deliberation. We look forward to your research essay draft submission on June 20, 2025, Friday. We are grateful if you're watching us later on YouTube or listening to us on our various podcasts or reading our publications. We hope you continue to join in future to our IMPRI web policy talk and web policy learning. Wishing you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.